it's me Emma and welcome back to my channel. So first of all I want to say a massive thank you to everybody that has subscribed to my channel and popped over to my Instagram and followed me over there. I can't believe we are literally almost at 700 followers over on Instagram. We have surpassed 250 subs on here, so thank you guys so much. I can't believe that you want to actually stick around and watch me geek out about things, so thank you so much, it means the world. But yeah, it's been a while since I've been on here last. You know, the world is a bit crazy outside and I suffer quite badly with anxiety, so I haven't really been wanting to film anything recently, but I have been reading, so I thought I'd come back with a manga wrap-ups for the last couple of weeks since I last uploaded my previous one. I have read quite a lot. It's a kind of like a coping mechanism for me to deal with my anxieties. It kind of sets me off into a world that I don't have to think about things, so I'm kind of grateful that I've got quite a big collection that I've accumulated over the last 10 years. So the first series that I wanted to talk about is Dr. Stone Volume 10. This one had been on my TBR for a while. If you had stuck around and watched my last couple of previous videos, you'd know that I've been wanting to get to this for a while, but I finally got around to it and I'm so glad that I did. I don't really care that people don't like it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it from what I've read so far. I'm not up to date with the chapters, I'm just loving reading it as it comes out volume to volume. In this volume we finally finished the Stonewall arc, I believe it's called. Senku and his former foe have kind of formed some sort of alliance through to circumstances. I'm not going to let you know of those circumstances because that would be spoiler, but we see sort of like a different dynamic to the whole group now, for what were former enemies are now kind of getting on, which is quite nice. In this particular volume they do revive somebody from the petrification, and he is, I believe he's a navigator, if I can remember correctly. I think he is. And Senku basically wants to explore the high seas and see if there's any other people that have been freed from the petrification, and also if there's any other clans or people that have survived throughout the ages. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Also in this volume we see currency being introduced, whereas it wasn't like that previously, so I think that's quite an interesting thing. It gives a little bit more dynamic to the series, bringing in something that wasn't there initially. But Senku is obviously up to his own like tricks again. He's kind of trying to scheme his way to get this guy to do what he wants, because this guy is a complete arse. I'm not a big fan of him at all, to be honest. He seems like he's gonna be a little bit of a problematic character quite possibly, but I'm quite interested to see what he brings to the story and how he changes the dynamic. So yeah, I can't wait for volume 11. I've pre-ordered volume 11 and volume 12, so I can't wait to see what goes on with the rest of this series. So the next series that I've got to speak to you about is one that had been sitting on my shelves for a little bit, and I'd read the first 3 volumes and I got asked by one of my followers on Instagram if I could do a review, so I will be doing a review soon, so watch out for that. But that particular series is Children of the Whales by Abe Meda. This series is stunning. The art is gorgeous, if you can't tell already. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's demographically classed as a shoujo, but it's definitely got shonen type elements to it. Basically this series follows this guy called Chokoro and his family, I suppose you can call them family, and friends on the Mudwell. The Mudwell is essentially an island that floats adrift the Sea of Sand. And on this island you have 2 different types of people. You've got the marked and the unmarked. The unmarked are people that can't use a special, almost magical ability, and the marked are people that can use something called thymia. Thymia is something that can be used to move objects around, so almost something similar to, like, suppose telekinetic kind of powers, so something similar to that. Anyway, in this particular volume here we see their lives on the Mudwell. To start off with, it starts quite fluffy, I suppose you could say fluffy, very innocent, very fluffy, very almost shoujo-esque, obviously with the art as well. In fact, I'll show you the first page for it. So this is the Mudwell here, and as I say, within the first couple of chapters, you find that they are alone in the middle of the sea, adrift the Mudwell, and there is an island that goes past the Mudwell, and the unmarked want the marked to go and investigate it to see if there's anything that they can bring back to possibly help their civilization on the Mudwell. And Chokoro is one of the people that is chosen to go aboard this other island, and he brings something back. But it's not an object, it's a person. So Chokoro brings back Likos, but on the island when he first meets her, she actually attacks him with thymia, which is rather bizarre for him. He's never experienced that before. He didn't know that there was anybody else out there other than the people on the Mudwell, so it's quite the experience for him. And you see when you first meet Likos that she doesn't actually have any emotion whatsoever, so for her to see somebody that has got emotions is kind of strange for her, and you see her throughout the first volume particularly start to grow from having no emotions to somebody that has a little bit more humanity, which is quite nice to see. Quite a bit of character development for her within the first volume, and I really did appreciate that. Through circumstances, situations arise on the Mudwell, and basically the whole Mudwell gets turned upside down and a lot of crazy stuff happens. You find out within the first volume why Likos doesn't have a whole lot of emotion and what exactly is going on the Mudwell. So yeah, I absolutely enjoyed this series. I read volumes 1 through 10. It's definitely a slow burner, so bear that in mind when you are actually picking this up. For starters, the art is stunning, the story is equally as great. Certainly the first volume takes a turn that I was not expecting at all. As I said before, it goes from very, very light and almost innocent, it goes very dark quite quickly. So do bear that in mind when you pick this up, but it's definitely a series that I recommend. I can't wait to get volumes 11, 12, 13 and 14 to get me up to date, and I have pre-ordered that 15th volume because I just cannot wait to get my hands on it when it comes out in August. But it's definitely one that I would recommend. So if you haven't picked it up, please consider consider picking it up. And if you do, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought of the series, because I certainly enjoyed it and I cannot wait to continue on with it. So the next series that I decided to read was Something's Wrong With Us by Natsume Ando. This story's about Nanao and Tsubaki. Nanao's mum works in a traditional confectionery company in Japan, making traditional sweets. I believe she is a live-in worker, so she lives where she works, and there is a family that is in charge of this company, and Tsubaki is the heir to that company. Certain things happen within the first part of this volume, and basically Tsubaki's father is murdered and Nao's mother is blamed for the murder. Tsubaki and Nao end up meeting again a couple of years later, basically in competition with each other to try and sell their own traditional sweets for a wedding. And situation happens within that sort of chapter, and Nanao ends up going to live with Tsubaki. So she basically wants to find out what happened to the former master of the household, why her mum was wrongly accused of murder, and what Tsubaki has to do with it. So my thoughts on this first volume was it didn't really grab me as much as I wanted it to, which was kind of gutting because I really did want to love this series. I really want to support josei titles because I am new to the whole demographic of josei, so I really did want to support it. I think I'm going to give it another volume because I can't say I fell in love with it. It intrigued me, certainly, but I can see that Tsubaki's going to be getting on my nerves a bit because he seems to be a little bit forceful with Nao, and I'm not 100% okay with that. It kind of bugs me a little bit. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a second volume to see what my feelings are after that. So the next series that I decided to pick up is one that I'd seen floating around on the manga tube scene, like the manga tube community, and over on Instagram as well. I did read the first chapter on the Shonen Jump app a little while ago and it kind of intrigued me. So that particular series is Hell's Paradise by Yuji Kaju. I think that's how you say it. Please don't quote me on that. I'm really rubbish when it comes to Japanese names. But this follows this character here called Gabimaru. He is a vicious assassin and he is betrayed by his village and basically gets captured and given a sentence, basically the death sentence. In the first part of this volume you see them try to kill him, and for some unknown reason they can't. They try to cut his head off, burn him alive, pull him apart, basically torture him in any way that they can in order to kill him, but they all fail. Now this girl on the back, I can't remember what her name is, but she manages to figure out what it is that is keeping him from dying and throws him a line basically and said, if you want to live, you're gonna have to follow me, meet the Shogun and go to an island in order to reclaim an immortal elixir. So you see them to go off in a massive group with other criminals to this particular island. This island people have gone to before and not come back alive. On the island really weird things start to happen, and by the end of this volume it gets to a part where I'm like, oh, why did it have to cut out then? Like, it's really annoying. But I really did enjoy this. I really did enjoy this first volume. I cannot wait to pick up the second one. I probably will be pre-ordering it within the next week or so because I don't think I'm going to be able to wait a few months to pick it up, so I will definitely be pre-ordering the second one to this. But it's definitely, I have to say, it's definitely not a series that I would have initially have seen myself enjoying, only because it's about ninja and possibly samurai. I think it's got samurai in it as well if I remember correctly, but the whole art style didn't really grip me either. If I can just show you the first panel so it's not spoilery, but I don't know if you can see that it's quite sketchy, and that's not normally something that I would gravitate towards. The art style definitely serves the series well. It definitely adds a creepier vibe to it because of how sketchy it is, but I did enjoy that. And I can't wait to get volume 2, so I will definitely be pre-ordering that at some point. So the last series that I read physically was one that again was on my TBR for a while, and I am so glad that I finally got round to it. But that series was The Way of the Househusband, volume 1 and volume 2. These follows a gentleman that is formerly known as the Immortal Dragon, and he was basically a former Yakuza, and you see him end up in really awkward situations being a house husband now. So you see him doing quite mundane things like go to the shops to buy groceries. He decides to do an exercise class, which is probably one of my favourite chapters, because he ends up walking into the girls' locker room and he just freaks the hell out. And the artist, is it Kyusuke Ono? I think it's Kyusuke Ono. Does an amazing job with the art style. The art style is awesome, and the way that the panels are drawn and the way that she expresses emotion on his face is so funny. It definitely adds a massive it definitely adds to the comedic effect of the whole series. It's so good. It's just a great series. I'm so gutted that it's only 4 volumes long. I believe the third one's coming out sometime this month or next month, so I will be picking that up. But I'm gutted. I'm so gutted that it's episodic as well. I would have loved to have had an overarching story, because I reckon it would have done so well with an overarching story. because his adventures are so funny, so comical, and I really do love this. I definitely recommend this series, especially if you're feeling a little bit crappy at the moment. It's definitely something that will make you laugh out loud. So yeah, that is The Way of the Househusband Volume 1 and Volume 2. Those were all the physical releases that I have read in the last couple of weeks. I've read quite a bit, like 1 to 10 of Children of Wales is probably one of my favourite ones, just because of the whimsical art. I really did like that series. But I have actually dipped my toes into the digital scene, so I think I'm probably going to do a second video for that, because there's about 5 or 6 that I've read, so I want to give that video a little bit more work so I can give my thoughts properly over that. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. If you want me to do any reviews on the series that I've just shown you, or any other ones that you see behind me, please feel free to let me know down in the comments section below. I'll be more than happy to do so. In fact, I have picked up a few new series recently. One was a recommendation by one of my followers over on Instagram. I finally got my hands on Given, so I will definitely be doing a review on that, because the first BL manga for me to actually have in my collection and read, so I'm kind of intrigued by it. So I will definitely be doing my first impressions of that particular series soon, so do keep an eye out for that, along with my digital manga wrap-ups, which I will be having out shortly once I filmed it. But if you have managed to stay all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Please don't forget to comment down in the section below. Let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you guys are reading, because I would love to know. I would love to get some new series recommendations as well. So let me know down in the comment section below, and we can engage in that conversation. So that would be really fun. But if you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe and smack that notification bell so you know when my videos come out. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.